Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. We are near 4,500 subscribers now, so if you could tick me over, that would be greatly appreciated. Smash a like on it if you enjoy the stream or the video as well. Lots to get into today, basically around the midfield, the need for outgoings at Arsenal at the moment, which I feel is holding up any further transfers and incomings that we can make. Bitello, the young Brazilian, potentially on his way to Arsenal this week. And, of course, we'll have guest the Gooner as well, answer any of your questions. Trappy, Jake Madderford, good to see you. Nathan, Kieran, Penguin, they're all piling in. Here we go. Here come the boys and girls. But yeah, the big thing that I think is coming out, and I keep seeing it pop up here and there, is basically this idea that Arsenal won't do any more signings until we've got at least some, of the outgoings done. Tom, Mustafa, good to see you as well. William Salibak. And this is going to become an issue. It really is. And I understand that Arsenal are in a tricky position, right? Where the majority of the players that we need to get rid of, they're not highly sought after, and they're probably on higher wages than they should be. By the way, apologies if I'm a bit nasally. I've got a cold. But yeah, so that's going to become an ongoing problem for us. That if we try and get money back that really they're not worth, it's just going to long out over the summer. And you know, I'd rather just cut our losses where we need to. Cut the losses and bring in potentially, you know, one more big signing. Max, good to see you. Aaron as well. And so, you know, in terms of players that we need to get out of the door, obviously Cedric's on the thumbnail. He's a big one, although he's not actually a big one because we're probably not going to get a fee for him. Pepe, similar boat. Sambi Lokonga, even getting him out on loan. Nuno Tavares, for me, El Neni, Rob Holding, Renarsson, at least one more of the keepers. You know, you're not getting big fees for these. Of course, Balogun and Tierney are probably the big two that could go, that you could get a good fee for. But it just doesn't seem like they're progressing quickly. And, I mean, on that, Fabrizio Romano today on his, I think it was on the Court Offside show, was talking about Tierney. He said the story's gone a little bit quiet. It remains one to watch later in the window. It's quiet now, but it could change. Arsenal are not desperate to sell Tierney, but they'd just consider that option if an important bid arrives. And I just feel like you've got that on one hand, but then on the other hand, you've got, you know, Ben Jacobs talking about Kudus today. It said Chelsea have registered their interest in Mohamed Kudus and are close to agreeing personal terms, although no offer has been placed yet. Arsenal's interest is genuine as well, although they won't move prior to outgoings. They made contact a couple of weeks ago. So if we're not going to move on players until we've made outgoings, speed up. Start making the outgoings. And if that means, you know, not getting as much as you could do. Look, ultimately, if you wait until towards the end of the transfer window, there's a chance you get a higher fee because other clubs become desperate. But then you're jeopardising making big signings because they might already have gone to other clubs. And so that's the issue. You've got Chelsea in for Kudus. You've got Chelsea in for Caicedo, but struggling to get that done. You've got Liverpool now in for, or not now in for, but have now bid for Romeo Lavia. Ornstein said today Southampton have turned down an opening offer from Liverpool for Romeo Lavia. Liverpool's proposal, thought to be worth 37 million, rejected by Southampton as they seek in the region of 50 million. Personal terms for the 19-year-old midfielder, not an issue. So again, the longer you leave it, the more chance is these players are going to be wrapped up and gone to other clubs. And as much as, yeah, you can get a bit more money for the players that you're selling at the end of the window because people are panicking, you're going to be in the same boat if you then go to buy someone. Those opportunities won't be there at the end of the window, and if they are there, you'll have to pay more for them. So, for me, the balance is get as many gone now as you possibly can, and go out and get that final player. If I see Holding or Lokonga in the UCL, I'll lose my mind. Well, you know, I don't think you would see them. And this is the thing, right? We have the rest of the squad depth that we shouldn't be seeing them in the Champions League. There's no reason that you would see them. But if we don't start moving them on, then they're just going to be on the wage bill, but not even in the squad, which is just a complete waste. Eddie needs to go. He is Forest level at best. I think that's a bit harsh, but I mean, he would start for Forest, but or would he start for Forest? I quite like Awonyi. How can Man United get 15 million for Alanga, who hasn't played all year, and we're going to have to pay 72 million for Pepe to? Yeah, well, I mean, Alanga and Pepe are very different, right? Alanga is young. Yes, he struggled under Ten Hag last season, but he played a fair bit before that. Draka, good to see you. Yeah, they are different players, to be fair. I understand what you're saying, though. And it is frustrating. It's frustrating that we can't get money for these players, but that's just the reality. We can't sit and complain. The reality is we're not going to get good money for any of these players. Our only chance for Pepe to leave is Saudi Arabia. Yeah, but it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Like Saudi Arabia, as much as they are taking play, they're not completely stupid. Good to see you, Ibrahim. Why did Balogun train by himself? So this is another thing. So obviously, our biggest sale, if it happens this summer, will be Balogun in terms of a fee. Assuming Partey doesn't go, and I'm more than sure at this point that Thomas Partey's not going anywhere. Balogun trained alone yesterday. I'll bring up the thing about it, but yeah, Balogun trained alone during Arsenal's pre-season training session yesterday, away from the rest of the squad. Now, Zinchenko also trained alone because he's got an injury, but there's nothing to suggest that Balogun does have an injury. Why you then... I don't know... I don't really know why you then make him train alone still. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into it. I don't want to read too much into it because I don't know the reason that he trained on his own. And even if he is up for sale, I still don't think that would be a reason to make him train alone. Maybe it's because of some of the things that he said. Maybe. I don't really know. But he will. I think he will get sold this summer. And we've got to get good money for him because he's going to be the biggest sale that we have this summer. And if we do need the income from those sales to sign anyone else, then again, it has to happen quickly. And this brings us back to this problem that, you know, the only sale we've made so far this summer was Granit Xhaka, and that was done and dusted before the window even opened. Do you know anything about Bitello? No, so... Well, I know a bit about him. Bitello, this young Brazilian midfielder, according to Tuto Mercato, Arsenal are set to sign Bitello from Gremio this week, €8 million deal. There's a fair amount of speculation about that report. Tuto Mercato, it's the Brazilian branch of Calcio Mercato, who are regularly unreliable. So I take it with a pinch of salt. Also, €8 million deal. I believe Monaco have already bid €8 million for him and had it turned down. So I don't know how we would. I don't know how we would sign him for a fee that's already been turned down. We did sell Pablo Mari. Yeah, sorry, we did sell Pablo Mari as well. But again, the sale of Pablo Mari was. It wasn't like a sale where someone came in and we negotiated. That was already done because Monza stayed up. So, you know, we've not really done any proper business going outwards, which is frustrating. Did you see Zinni will play against City? He's only playing 5 minutes in the Ukraine game. Huge dub. Yeah, I did, yeah. I mean, there's no guarantee that he'll start against City, to be fair, but... Do you think Balogun's becoming overrated? Yeah, in a sense. I think he's become overrated in the sense that, you know, some people think he should start over Gabriel Jesus and that we should do anything to keep him. The fact is, he still hasn't proved himself in the Premier League. And he still has to prove himself in the Premier League. I don't think he'll get that chance at Arsenal at this point, but it is what it is. Tierney should start? I don't know. I mean, look, there's been quite a lot of positivity around Tierney on the timeline over the last couple of days, and I do think he played relatively well against Man United, but the problem for me is that I still saw the same things that are the reason he's not going to play for Arsenal much in the future. He still panics on the ball. He still lumps it and clears it out when he doesn't need to. And I like I've said before, I understand why he does that, but he said it himself. He's learning from Zinchenko. To be fair, he had a really good interview the other day, which I thought his mentality was excellent. You know, about sticking with Arsenal, about fighting for his place, about how he has had to try and adapt and play in this new position, and he's been learning from Zinchenko, and it's really good. I just think he's too good to have as little game time as he's likely to have at Arsenal next season and beyond that. But also we need someone to come in and bid a reasonable amount for him, which is difficult. You've been talking about a different profile striker. Who do you think is affordable that would give you that? Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney would be the one for me. I would sign Ivan Toney. I don't know how much Brentford would demand for him, but it would definitely be a discount because of the whole ban thing. So for me, Ivan Toney would be the one. Rory, thoughts on Rants and Bants saying Arsenal will implode this season? I don't really know who Rants and Bants is. And I think he's probably wrong. Is he an Arsenal fan? He's not an Arsenal fan, presumably. If Højlund is going for 60 million after scoring 9 goals, then surely we get a similar price for Flo, as he scored double the goals. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always work like that. It doesn't, like, Lacazette scored more than Balogun last season. No one's going to, obviously he's old, but it doesn't always work exactly like that, and I do think Højlund has a very high ceiling. But also, I do think there's this weird tax, and Arsenal are still suffering the tail end of, teams won't pay Arsenal a lot of money for players. The opposite of that you see with Man City, where Man City get crazy money for all of their players, because there's almost like a stamp of approval. It's almost like a pedigree badge, that if you're signing a player from Man City, they will be good. And the issue is that at Arsenal, because of how it's been at Arsenal in the last few years, you don't get that. Which is frustrating. It will change with time. But also, yeah, you generally see that players across Europe get sold to the Premier League for more than players from the Premier League get sold abroad. And part of that's just the financial power. I wish Balogun still had the English tax. Well, he does. Like, English tax isn't English tax, it's homegrown tax. And he is still a homegrown player, and he still has homegrown tax. The issue for that is that you need a big Premier League club to come in for him. Yeah, it's a weird agenda against our players. Yeah, it's not just us, though. Like, Man United, I know Elanga's gone for 15 million, but he's gone to another Premier League club. But Man United have the same issue, that they don't sell players for a lot of money. Hopefully the mentality in the team doesn't take a hit should we lose to Barca. Yeah, hopefully not. I'm quite confident that we'll beat Barcelona, to be honest. Bingo, because those City players have proved themselves. Arsenal sell players that are either young and unproven or... Well... I think my thing's frozen. Oh dear. I think we're frozen. I don't know what's happening. We're back. We're back. Right, we should be back on YouTube now. Apologies for the delay. My PC randomly packed in. I thought we'd survived these issues, but we have not. But we're back, and you should be able to hear me as well. So like I was saying, I have absolutely no idea what I was saying. What was I talking about before it went down? Let me try and find... Oh yeah, I was talking about the City. So, not all of the City players that are being sold have proven themselves, right? But the fact is, there's such a level of... there's such a... Losing street credit? I know, I'm sorry. There's such a level of, like... basically, if you're coming out of City's academy, there's just a general assumption that you'll be good. Which is why they can sell players for lots of money. And they're reaping the rewards of putting a lot of money into their academy system, and that's fair enough. And hopefully Arsenal will be in that position ourselves in a couple of years' time. I genuinely do believe the current deadwood we have is the final time we'll really struggle to sell players on for a decent amount of money. Favourite Arsenal Twitter apart from yours? I would say Alex. I'd say Alex. The different knock. That's, in terms of like analysis, way better than me. Rory, are you not worried we get dominated by United, a team that we think we're better than? Not really, because it's a pre-season friendly. I'm not, it was a pre-season friendly. We're trying new things. Now, don't get me wrong. On paper, we had a stronger team than them. They played more youngsters, and they got the better of us. But ultimately, they scored 2 goals from 2 mistakes. So it wasn't like they massively dominated the game. They scored 2 goals from 2 mistakes. At halftime, they then brought on players like Casemiro and really slowed the game down. And I just don't think it's worth worrying about. Someone said earlier, in our Invincible season, we lost to Barnet. We drew to some team from Austria. Like, I know we had a good preseason last season, and off the back of that good preseason, we had a good season. But it's not that important. And I said on Twitter yesterday or the day before as well, when we try new things, sometimes it doesn't work, or sometimes it's really clunky. In the second to last Premier League game of last season against Nottingham Forest, it was the first time we tried Partey at right back, and it was the first time we tried Kivior at left back, and it was awful. A week later, we played the exact same formation again, and we beat Wolves 5-0. Now, of course, there are reasons for that. Forest were playing for their lives, Wolves were on the beach, but in general, it looked far better, and it looked like we'd learned lessons, so I'm not bothered about us taking time to learn these lessons now in pre-season. George says, how are you? It's clear we've kind of given up on Lavia now, and it's all on Botello and Kudus. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know that we are out of the Lavia race. And this is one thing I wanted to talk about, by the way, is like, generally, the reason I think we need to sign a player, whether it's Kudus or Lavia, that can play in midfield is... Keeping Partey means we're good for next season. At the end of next season, the likelihood is we lose Partey and Jorginho. So whether we do it this summer or next, we're going to have to spend a lot of money on midfielders. So we may as well just do it this season. I will respond, Ibrahim, I'm sorry. But yeah, we need to sign, and the thing is, if the midfielders that are available this summer are the better options, whether it's Caicedo or Lavia or whoever, you don't know what the market for midfielders is going to be like next summer. And if we lose Jorginho and Partey and we can't replace them, then that'll be a big mistake. Obviously, FFP plays into it and various other things, but I think if we can get it done, we should get a midfielder in ASAP. Ibrahim, finally, I've got to you. Jesus being disrespected, and last season everyone was creaming for him and was so gassed. So does that mean next season everyone's going to hate Declan Rice? Jesus is being disrespected, and last season everyone was creaming for him. Weird term. And was so gassed. Does that mean next season everyone's going to hate Declan Rice? No, I don't think so. I still think there are plenty of people in the fan base that rate Jesus anyway. And next season, the way people talk about Declan Rice next season will entirely depend on how he plays for us this season. So I don't think that's an issue. Why do you think we will lose Partey next summer? Because so next summer Partey's got 2 years left on his contract. So next summer we either give him a new contract, which we don't give players that are that old new contracts, or we sell him, because otherwise you lose him on a free a season later. So if we keep him this summer, I would massively assume we sell him for 15 million, 20 million next summer. That would be my assumption. Rory, have you been watching the Women's World Cup? Not massively, if I'm honest. I watched the England game, but other than that, not massively. There's not a lot of hype for it. If we're honest, there's not a lot of hype for it. Rory, why don't we just get Caicedo? Wouldn't it be nice to steal him away from Chelsea? Oh, it would. I'm sure the only reason we're not doing it is financial, because it would be perfect, but it's another 100 million potentially. So it's a very difficult deal to get done. And to be fair, again, getting those sales done for us and potentially opening the door on a Caicedo move would be massive. Because if we can get involved in that, Chelsea and Brighton are having big issues over that deal. Seemingly because Brighton are just insistent on getting Colwill as part of the deal, and Chelsea are insistent that they don't. But if we, it's one of those where even if that takes another month, if we haven't made any sales by that point, we can't get involved no matter what, which is frustrating. What are 3 transfers to other teams that you're jealous of? Good question. 3 transfers to other teams that I'm jealous of. McAllister to Liverpool for the price. I think that price is ridiculous. So I'm jealous that they got him for that price. Diaby to Aston Villa. That would have been fantastic backup to Saka. And one more. One more. Nkunku. I'd love Nkunku, but that deal was already done. I don't consider Nkunku as a this summer. Not Mount, not Tonali, no. Szoboszlai kind of, but I think they paid quite a lot of money. I don't know if I'd have been happy to pay that amount of money for Szoboszlai. I mean, who else is there? Who else is there? I'd say Maddison. For 40 million, I'd say Maddison. I think that's good value. Not that I think we really need him, but I just don't like Tottenham getting a good player at all. Rory, what do you think of Nelson being Saka's backup? Is he really up to the task? Well, the thing is, right, he's good enough. In terms of Reece Nelson's ability, is good enough. Actually, yeah, Arda Güler to Real Madrid and Xavi Simon's going back to PSG for 6 million. I know it was a buyback clause, but the issue for me with Reece Nelson being Saka's backup is not his ability. It's the profile. It's a completely different profile. And so if you have to bring in Reece Nelson for Saka for a prolonged period of time, you basically have to change the way you've been playing. And we've been set up to have a Saka. It's been Saka, but ultimately we've been set up to have a Saka-style player at right wing for the last 2 seasons. So if that suddenly changes, quite a few other things have to change as well, and I think that's difficult. And so for that reason, it worries me a little bit. I hope Smith Rowe gets game time, as 2 seasons ago he was joint top scorer, so he has to be given a chance. I hope he does as well. I hope Smith Rowe is given a proper chance this season. And I think if he is given a proper chance, he'll take it as well. Blows my mind that there are actually people on Twitter that think we have the slightest chance of signing the Turtle. Mbappe, yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. Ramsdale out, we won't win anything with Ramsdale. Yeah, you're waffling. You're waffling. Any update on Kudus? So this is the thing. The update on Kudus is that this came from Ben Jacobs, that Chelsea have registered their interest in him and are close to agreeing personal terms, which is actually, it sounded like that was a new thing, but it's actually arguably worse than what Ornstein said a couple of days ago, because Ornstein said Chelsea were interested and had agreed personal terms. So it's actually not progression for Chelsea, but it's just something that if we're going to jump on it, we've got to jump on it quickly. And apparently we can't do that until we've made outgoings. So why are Rob Holding and Sambi still here? Well, I think Sambi is different. Right, Sambi still has a future at Arsenal. It's not guaranteed, but there is still a route to playing for the first team for Sambi. So I can understand us being a bit more delicate with that situation, making sure if he does go out on loan, it's the right loan. Or if it's a loan to buy, we've got, the clauses in it are decent. Rob Holding is just a case of, I don't know. I think we're just waiting for someone to actually really want him, to even get a few million for him. So that's just tricky. Sambi is shit. I haven't given up. I haven't given up on Sambi. I still see glimpses of a player that I think can make it. I think he has to go out on loan, and he has to have a very, very good season where he goes on loan. Maybe Burnley, maybe somewhere else. What's Fabio Vieira's future in your opinion? I feel like people don't talk about how much we paid for him. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people don't kind of want to... Fans and the club probably don't want to acknowledge that really Fabio Vieira would be the first significant flop signing under the new regime, under Arteta and Edu, because he did cost 35 million. And people don't want to talk about that. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, it is time for People Are Calling For It in the chat. Guess the Guna, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player's career path minus the Arsenal part of it, and you have to guess who that player is in the YouTube chat. Fastest person to get it gets the immense pride, the immense respect of the Rory Talks Football community and the wider Arsenal community. If you're on TikTok and you want to get involved, the little Instagram icon on my profile will take you to the YouTube. Get your fingers on your keyboards for this ex or current Arsenal player. They started at Sao Paulo. They went on loan to Sao Paulo. They went to Alwada. They went on loan to Cruzeiro. They then went to Botafogo, Sliema Wanda, and Brazil Pelotas. So there you go. Sao Paulo on loan, Alwada, Cruzeiro on loan, Botafogo, and Sliema Wanda. And people have got it. People have got it. The first person to get it was VV Vlad, not for the first time. VV Vlad is our winner. It was Denilson. It was Denilson. Obviously, people going for the Brazilian players, which makes sense. Marquinhos, some shouts, Martinelli. But it was indeed Denilson, who we signed him for €5 million in 2006. And we sold him. No, we never sold him. He ended up going back to Sao Paulo on a free transfer when he eventually left. So there you go. VV Vlad came first. Drakkar came second. Who came third? Mohammed came third, and that was it. And Mohammed has donated or super chatted with £1.99 and says Kim Kardashian is going to tomorrow's game. There you go. Kim Kardashian's going to tomorrow's game. It's going to be a curse. It's going to be a curse. There you go. There you go. Mohammed with the information. If you want to watch tomorrow's game, you might get to see Kim Kardashian. He was the OG El Neni. Yeah, literally. Literally. I know it's only pre-season, but will you start to get worried if we have another poor performance tomorrow? It depends, right? So there would need to be some context around the poor performance. What was poor about the performance? Who was playing? Like, if we try another new thing and it doesn't work and we play badly as a result, then I'm not too worried. If we try the same thing, to be honest, the major thing that would worry me would be a lack of intensity again. That was the thing. That was the only thing that concerned me from the Man U game, and it would be the only thing concerning me from the Barca game would be lack of intensity, lack of tempo, because there's just no excuse for that. Are you streaming the Barca game? No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to stream the Barca game. It's at 3:30 in the morning. I can't do it. I can't do it. It is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. Guess the Non-Gooner, the game where I give you a player who has never and does not play for Arsenal. I give you their full career path. You have to guess who it is in the chat. Fastest finger on it. Are you ready? Are you ready? This player started at FC Groningen. They went to PSV Eindhoven. They went to Chelsea, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and FC Groningen. Who is the player? Reading it out, I feel like, have I done that before? Have I done him before? Part of me feels like I've done him before. People getting it rapidly, though. People getting it rapidly. It was indeed Iron Robin. Iron Robin, and it was Jim Bob who got it first. Jim Bob got it first. Second was Devin. Third was Matt. Fourth was George Christodoulou. And fifth was Jake Madderford. Yeah, I think I have done that before. I think I said it. I think I've done that one before. So I apologise. No, that was Guess the Non-Gooner, Momo. That was Guess the Non-Gooner. So it was... Arn Robin is a legend? Yeah, I'd say so. I would say so. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. A bit of a shorter one today. There's not. I guess there wasn't a huge amount to talk about. I'm just concerned. I am concerned about the outgoings and not getting them done quickly enough, and missing out on another midfielder that I think we need as a result. But there we go. Hi, you did misguess the Gooner, unfortunately. Unfortunately, you did. But anyway, that's the end of the stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please smash a like. Subscribe if you haven't done already. And I will be back at 5 o'clock tomorrow for a full sort of preview of the Barcelona game. But until then, have a fantastic evening. And yeah, cheers.